Greetings, our most fundamental elements and assets of nature. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back again. This is episode 2 featuring Carlson.
Yeah.
The chairperson of House Committee in Salt Lake University in South Campus.
Yeah.
Did I introduce you correctly, sir?
No. This man, that was a wonderful presentation. Introduction, powerful. Yeah. No, that's true. Greetings, everyone. My name is Carlson Nechekure. I'm the chairperson for Hanegi Residents and chief project officer for the university, and I'm here with the big man himself. He just welcomed me into his podcast, and I'm hoping to deliver content to you guys.
Round of applause. Round of applause. So, sir, tell us here, where did you grow up?
Hey, dude. You see, people from Venda. You talk about people from Venda.
Cares.
I was born in Venda, Chilidzini Hospital. I grew up there for like 3 years, raised by my grandmother. She was alone while my mother was in Johannesburg, hustling, pushing, working in the kitchens, working in garages, trying to make a living so that she can send back money at home in Limpopo. Then afterwards, mother decided that no, man, I need my son near me. So I then went to Gauteng. I moved to Gauteng in the East Rand, in a place called Benoni. And that's where I grew up. I even schooled there. So yeah, that's I spent most of my life in Gauteng, but originally in the Movenda.
Oh,
yeah.
We've been struggling to pronounce your surname. Like, hey, how are we going to introduce this guy if you can pronounce?
No, you can just call me by my middle name.
Yeah.
Say Hakaki. You feel me?
Yeah. I feel you.
It's very much powerful that name. Hakaki. It means never makes a mistake.
Oh,
dangerous.
So you grew up in Gauteng, Pinon. Which side of Pinon? Because I'm also from Gauteng.
I grew up in the East Rand in Gauteng, like I said, in Benoni Central.
Remember,
in Benoni there's Faramea, Boxback, Whiteville, all these places. But I grew up in Benoni Central, near Lakeside Mall.
Oh, I see that place.
I went to Large School for Primary, then I went to War School, Willamo High, and that's really where leadership started.
Yeah.
I heard you correctly when you said that you grew up with your grandmother when your mother was in Johannesburg, pushing life, hustling for you. So I want to know, like, how was the experience growing up around Venda?
It was. I don't know how to describe it in a way that is vivid for the audience maybe to comprehend. When you're growing up with your grandmother, man, even though it's hell, it's heaven. You understand? So even though we were in a state of poverty, I grew up in a mud house. I grew up wearing Malir. I never wore Pampers. You see, so when you shit that thing, you see. So yeah, but it was amazing. So we were in a mud house, a house made of mud. And then masenke, the zinc plates that make the roof. They put rocks on top of them so that they don't, fly when there's wind and everything. It was bad. We had one window. It was sort of a 3-bedroom house. And then if you look at our neighbors, they were booming. They have everything. But with my grandmother there, we Nalema, understand? She used to do small gardening, a small farm in the house or in the yard, if I may say correctly. And then Omeroho, we used to eat that. I would go to bed full. Understand? There is water, I'll drink the water. And then she would comfort me. So growing up as a young boy, the time that I spent with her, I didn't really see any problem. Yeah, but obviously as you grow up, you begin to see that there are a lot of problems. You know, my toys were Ditina would break it in half and call it kusheshe.
Part of cars. Yeah.
So that's the whole idea. Yeah,
I heard you very correctly. When you explained that your leadership started in high school.
In primary.
In primary, what made you to realize that you were born to lead?
You know, that's a very critical question. A question that even many leaders themselves, they don't comprehend why it is their calling to lead. Understand? So when I was growing up, I was individual was very active. You know, you come from Venda, so when you get to Gauteng, there's soccer, there's athletics. So I was everywhere, you understand? And then I had this charisma in me. So obviously as a young individual, the leadership qualities that you have, they are very vague. So even though you have leadership skills, they are still premature, you know, they need to be nurtured. So one of the major things that highlight you as a young individual, you'll even remember yourself. You know, the stout individual or the person who made noise in class was made the class captain. It's that charisma, your ability to call attention to yourself. So I was that individual, but within I was stout, but I was passing.
I know those ones. I know those ones.
So the teachers liked me, but the class also liked me. Do you understand? So that's where I developed that thing of being a leader, leading others, because the class would follow me because they know when the teacher wants you to write someone on the board, I won't do it. I'll ask maybe for 2 rand and stuff while she's out, and then when she comes back, you know, I'm that intelligent person who was able to say, hey, the class was very good, ma'am, what, and then they're impressed. So that's where leadership took off, and obviously it had its ups and downs. Real big time ups and downs that tested my leadership skills and capabilities. But that's where it began. I'm not sure if you want me to continue.
No, you can add if you want to add.
So when I'm saying that, like, that was the background, you know, sometimes when you are a leader and sometimes when you have charisma, you can end up in wrong places. Because even though I was in Benoni, you know, we were renting when we were staying. I was in a poor side of Benoni. Those are in the initial times, you know, when I was still young. So I was exposed to things like gangsterism. To things like drugs, prostitution. I saw it every day. You know, so walking in the streets, you are obviously there are people there who are vultures. They are watching you. So growing up, I was that kid that everyone in the community likes you, even the wrong people. But the wrong people will always like you for the wrong reasons. So, hey, people try to recruit me into different things. And obviously to be cool in school, you know, I know with this gangster who lives there, who shot this guy, you know, you sound mighty and powerful. I started being attracted to those things. And then it was my mother who helped me out. Hey, because that lady moved me. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be anywhere in life.
So
that's part of the journey.
Actually, most interesting thing, we went to Google. We want to know, we're more interested of knowing about you. So now, are you the founder of Diamond Star Africa?
Yes.
Big things.
Now you're talking.
Big things.
Millionaires in the making.
Yeah.
So I'm the founder and CEO of Diamond Star Africa.
Shut up, bro.
Oh.
So I started the company to have like civic engagements in the Northern Cape, noticing that poverty is something that is inherited. You know, the legacy of apartheid, all of these things, you know, they influence what an individual thinks about themselves. And what an individual thinks about themselves influences how they behave and interact with the community. So a solution to that was civic engagements. But obviously, my company specializes in advanced leadership development and training, But I also give civic engagements to individuals in the community. I collaborate with the departments of social development or SAPS, the university itself. I'm to influence people in our community so that they can one day become successful individuals like you and like me, especially like you.
So how did you come with the name Diamonds Africa?
So I had this idea, from high school, but it really kicked off when I came here in Kimberley. I thought, no man, this is a big sector of the market that hasn't been explored, facilitating leadership development. And myself, I have a track record of leadership. I have trophies and everything, accolades and everything that can back me up, and people can write references. So let me take my skill and monetize it. And then I thought, okay, now I'm in Kimberley. Kimberley is the home of diamonds.
Okay.
So diamonds, okay. But diamonds are rare. Diamonds are made under pressure. Diamonds are special. So diamonds are Africa. But where do those diamonds come from? They come from my hands. Hence diamonds.
Cazo.
I like it. Yes, please. Yeah.
So, are you a believer?
That's a very, very, very vague question. Yeah, I think you would need to.
Because of the reason I asked you that question, I'm going somewhere now. Last time I once told someone that when the favor of God locates you, it will put you into places whereby you never thought I would be there. You understand? So the favor of God has located you from Johannesburg to Kimberley. You had a thought of doing a diamond campaign. So now the Lord has brought you to the land of diamond. So now you can be able to initiate your business. So now here you are. That's not very interesting. And
can you please tell us, because when we were reading on Google, it said you won a national something like national debate, or can you please tell us what?
So in high school, that's where my debating career started. I was a very, very good debater. And Gauteng is the best province, in terms of public speaking, debating. I was part of the top dogs.
Kezo.
So we went to many competitions, and then one of them was hosted by Tshepang. They are a company that deals with these debating engagements and everything. And so in this Model United Nations debating that we had, I was ranked out of everyone in the nation who participated in that specific tournament, number one. Because of the skills that I learned from my debating coach, Mr. Brown, who really teaches us that everything can be critically broken down. And in order for us to understand the fundamentals of morals and values in humanity, we need to understand what is wrong and what is right, and define it in a way that is progressive for the whole community and for all of humanity. So by understanding that, I can break down almost anything and argue.
Yes.
Okay, so
we, in terms of awards, I've won big awards. There's SASCO, there's the WITS Model United Nations summit that's hosted every year. I won first prize there.
So you remember?
It's one of the, it's the top in sub-Saharan Africa. And I came out with the best position paper.
So have you ever traveled you went out of South Africa?
Yes.
Yes.
So where did you go?
Well, Australia.
Oh!
Yeah?
Yes.
Botswana.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Tanzania.
America. I'm telling you. Kezo.
No, and we're still going places.
Hey, man.
We're still
Hey,
going.
I'm
Hey,
getting-
my new role model of it.
It's hot in here. Ghosty. It's hot in here.
No, it's there. There is.
Okay.
Yeah. So tell us here. The time you arrived in Salt Blackie, is it your second year?
This is my second year here.
Yeah, the time you arrived in Salt Blackie, what made you like to partake in house community elections?
In life there's something we call strategic planning. You know, with me doing advanced leadership development and everything, I'm also an individual that coaches people, like a mentor, success coach and everything. And there's something we call leveraging. You know, it's interesting if you look into things like investments, like in the stock market, real estate, everything, everywhere you go in investments, there's what we call leveraging. Leveraging means that you are able to take a small unit of what you have, and then you are essentially borrowing from somewhere another quantity, and then you invest into whatever portfolio you're investing in, and then the return has greater profits. So that thought can be applied in real life. You see, so sometimes in life, when you are in a position of power or leadership, you are able to knock on the right doors, speak, and when you speak, people will hear you, and the right people will hear you. So that's the leveraging part. So when you're a normal student, it's very difficult for the VC to hear you. It's very difficult for the dean to hear you. It's very difficult for the residence manager to hear you. But when you are a house com, you know, when you are in the leadership position, it's very easy for you to present your ideas to people who can say, hey, but this person is smart. Let me put them in this program. Let me open these doors for them. Understand? Because sometimes you see doors, but you don't have the keys. And there are people who have the keys to open those doors for you. And so, me going into the house committee wasn't me wanting anything. It was me recognizing that I have the ability to serve. I want to serve. And this thing is going to allow me to grow strategically in this way and this way. So that was the whole idea. And right now I'm going for SRC, so you guys must vote for.
Cares on.
This podcast.
Man, don't put people So you are the chairperson
Yes.
of house community.
Yes.
So tell us, what is your role? Like, what are you doing in that position?
As chairperson, okay, so there's two ideas. There's idea that is always presented to it's an executive position. So obviously the house committee has an executive. So the chairperson is then viewed as the head. The chairperson is the signatory of the house committee, and the chairperson essentially is a emblem and the forefront leader of the whole house. Understand? So my roles and responsibilities then come into, firstly, disciplining the internal house committee. That's the number one responsibility. Secondly, is to facilitate growth in the house. And then thirdly, you have elements of me actually engaging students and understanding student culture and how we can develop it within the Heneke residences. And so those are some of the roles that I have as a chairperson. Understand? On top of other things. Top of other things.
So, like, as a chairperson of our committee, I want you to clear the air. I want you to clear the air on something. There was a time whereby my ear was on the ground, and I heard that you and the PMN was actually experiencing some friction. What was that friction all about?
Well, in positions of leadership, there is always going to be friction. Understand? Where there is comfort, there is no growth. Where there is no comfort, there is growth.
So
you understand? So in every, it wasn't about the peer mentors. In everywhere where you go, where there's leadership, where there's a hierarchy, there will be friction. But coming back to what you said, it was around the idea of policy. You understand? Everywhere you go, there's hierarchy and there's policy. So your hierarchy means where are you on the ladder? And then policy means what can you do based on who you are in the hierarchy. So the fights were based on, okay, I am house committee, these are my roles and responsibilities. You are peer mentor, these are my roles and responsibilities. But we had a few clashes, you know, in terms of policy. So we needed to fix that so that we clearly understand that this is what is a peer mentor is supposed to do. This is what a house com executive is supposed to do. Yeah, but it wasn't me fighting the peer mentors. A lot of the peer mentors were actually getting what I was saying. It was just a thing of policies that were clashing. And in turn they make the people who represent those positions to clash also.
Okay, we understand. So can you say you whatever that you have achieved in your current position, or we all know that at some point when you occupy a certain position, you have a strategy and you have a goal, you see. So in terms of having that, it doesn't mean that you will reach all the goals that you have aimed for. So now we are trying, so what I'm trying to ask you is that what we have reached so far and what we have achieved so far.
There's actually two sides of that story. There's one as a house committee and there's another one personally. First, for house committee, in Solblak University, no one was interested in the house committee, you know. But I feel like I came into the space and I brought that culture that look at what house committee can do for you. You know, when you stand and you shine, even though you are not receiving anything. And I believe a lot of people are running now. They want to become house committee because of, hey, Carlson, have you seen Carlson? He has this and this and this. He can do this and this and this.
I'm also there.
You see?
Cares off.
Yeah. So that's one idea. Another idea is the aspect of you want to grow people. You know, university, a lot of people have the perception, especially uneducated people, they have the perception that when you go into university and when you go into university residence, it's all about academics. And you guys, you realize that when you get here, the environment is much more diverse, you know, and you have so much freedom. So my role was to then, how do I allow for people who are presented with this freedom, which is all of a sudden, to navigate through university such that they graduate with a degree or a diploma or whatever qualification that they're planning to get, and you know, they don't have HIV, and they are socially intelligent, and they are emotionally intelligent, you know, because these are the factors that make you get a job. It's not just your degree, it's you as an individual. So my idea was like, how do I grow people in the environment holistically? Which I've implemented through a few programs.
And which is one of the good ideas. It showed what we're actually doing in that position. We're not just taking it for the sake of profile. Because of like when we check some people now, they confuse the concept leadership and influence.
That's very true.
Because of like some, they are just influencers and they want to partake in the leadership activities. You see, I once told someone that if you're a true leader, when you start to speak, the individuals or the majority, they must understand you. So if you're an influencer, only some people will understand, because like you're an influencer, some will be like, nah, we don't get the concept, you know. Some will be like, nah, we get the concept. So I'm not there. Now we are closing. We are closing.
Actually, before you close.
No. Not like none right now. We still have a question for you.
No, I actually want to touch on what you just said. It's very, very imperative that people actually hear this, because you need to recognize that leadership does not start by me leading you. It starts by you leading yourself.
Power.
So a lot of people in the university, especially in Seoul Black University, because it's such a young university, they are led by influencers. Understand? People who say things that don't even make sense. They'll wake up and say toi, but you don't understand the reasoning why. So it's important that also when we define our leaders and we identify our leaders, we identify people who are going to move with our values and who are going to have morals that are associated with our own. And that's how we identify our leaders. Because not everyone truly is a leader.
No.
And some influencers are leaders and some leaders are influencers.
You see?
But now you need to be able to differentiate between the two.
Yeah, you must know the difference.
So that leadership positions, because they are democratic, they don't become popularity contests, but they become leadership elections. It's very important. It's imperative.
Hey, man! Hey, who are you? Who are you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what is your take on current leadership? Like, what is your take?
In regards to student leadership, or in regards to student leadership, are you referring to the House Committee, SRC?
I'm referring to SRC.
In regards to the SRC, I believe that they have their mandate and it has been defined by students. And I don't believe that a lot has been met. And I don't believe that student sentiment actually respects the ethos of SRC. Understand? Because in other universities, when the SRC speaks, all students will come. Understand? But they don't have that respect here. Why do they not have that respect? It's because the SRC of Seoul Black University, I feel like it doesn't take the grievances of students into account, into proper account when they are actually trying to address them with management. And why is this? It's because of the people that we elect. I believe that we should, as students, we should blame ourselves. You cannot say if someone buys you beer and then you expect that they are going to communicate well with the VC, because the VC is a person of facts. I'm not saying anyone in the SRC drinks beer, but I'm just trying to give you an example of the logic. Because the VC now, when he's questioning you, when he's engaging you, is going to want to engage a leader, because they're not looking at you as an individual, but they're looking at the role and responsibility that you play as a SRC chair, as a SRC secretary, or whatever position you are in. And when they question you and you fail to address them in whatever you're representing, then you cannot represent the students. You'll always fail, and then the students will never respect you. So students need to elect leaders that they know can think.
I hear you. That one is a very important point. Like last time I told someone that when you start to take the big responsibility of the individuals, it is not about you anymore. It is about them. If it wasn't about them, it simply means you couldn't have occupied that position. You occupied that position because of them. So I think before you start to lead, like you said something very important there. You said before you become a leader, you must start to lead yourself, and you must understand yourself. Some people, like you said, they misinterpret the concept influence and leadership. When you come into power, before we end, I'm very concerned, and you're the other person to talk to. Last time we had a strike. There was a strike of people, they must go home with their staff, and then the student leaders, they went to protest. There was an email that was sent to us that they say a case of an attempted murder. So now I was asking someone this kind of question, asking them, hey, but tell me, did these people, did they go to the management or SMT to address their grievances before they do, before they take this action, by the way? So that person told me that, I don't know. So I again asked that person that, but if you're a leader, you go there, you tell the people that are in charge, the sentiments of those students, the struggle of those students. You don't put it, I'm telling you to do this thing. You negotiate before you take action. So what I'm trying to say is that on the next coming elections, we want people that are not hungry for power. We want people that are not gonna be there for the sake of influence. We all know that we have what do you call? We all have that. We have needs that we want you guys to deal with, but we know that we can't do everything for us. Some they will be done, some they won't be done. So in that way, all I'm saying is that we don't want people that are gonna go for power or for money. We want leadership. Like you said, we also have seen that as first years, they try to fight for us, but they only met certain goals, but others they are not actually met. Yeah. So last question, what is your comment about the cafeteria?
With the issues of the cafeteria, remember, each and every leadership structure, student leadership structure, has certain powers. Understand? So I really understand the grievances of students around the cafeteria. But remember that as house committee, my powers are limited, even though I'm a chairperson. So let me actually get you into understanding the protocol of what happens. So when we go outside the thing, when we go into student grievances, that's really on the table of the SRC. Understand? So if as a house committee we observe that there are problems or issues in the cafeteria, our responsibility is to take evidence, gather evidence, report to the SRC. We have no power outside of that. You understand?
Yeah.
So even though I'm not happy with the cafeteria at all, but as using my authority as Housecom chairperson, I am very limited in terms of what I can do besides writing letters to the wardens, to the to some of the people in management, and to the SRC. But the people who can actually shake things, the SRC. And I'm not trying to shift the blame to them, but I'm saying that even though I'm not happy, people who are supposed to be dealing with student grievances that go outside like residents' life, like the general domain of how things exist every day, are the SRCs. It's their responsibility. That's why they are the student representative councils. They must represent you.
Yeah. Before you release you, we want to play a game with you.
Let's see.
Yeah, I'm made of trouble. I like trouble.
Let's see.
I like trouble. I think you have seen me before that this boy likes trouble.
No, don't forget I'm from Venda. So you must limit your trouble.
Cares.
I might deal with you.
Yeah. Cares. We have campaigns here, students campaigns or student political whatnot. I don't know them. Yes. So I will want you to let one stay and take
choose
it.
between.
Yeah, you have to choose. Like the one it stays, the one must go. Between SASCO and DASO, who must stay?
It's very controversial.
You can break it into context if you want to.
Yeah, you choose, then you tell us why you choose this one.
Between SASCO and DASO. It's a political attack. I'm afraid I'll just contextualize on what I see. But I'm afraid I cannot give you a direct answer because remember, I'm someone who also wants to run for the SRC. And it won't be wise for me to be making such political statements, even if it's freedom of speech. With SASCO, I've seen that they are active, and they have been, implementing a few programs. They have been on the last month, the Women's Month. They implemented a very beautiful program which was successful. They have some good leadership. The chairperson is a first year, but is powerful. And the dynamics of their leadership is that if they see leadership potential in you, they put you there. They don't say, "Hi, you are a comrade, you are in Robben Island with us." you will be the chairperson. Space, and that really then means that they respect the idea of youth taking ownership. That's how I see SASCO in Salt Lake University, but not SASCO as a whole. So the Salt Lake University branch, so protocol observed. And then DASO, they're very quiet.
Now, I was even surprised we have DASO.
They're very quiet. That is my comment. Full stop.
Now let's take the big bulls. Because of like they said, they cannot be two bulls in one crown. One must leave and one must die. Between EFF Student Command and SASCO, who must stay?
Hey, this man is not giving me a chance.
I told you I like trouble. I made up trouble.
No, Bella, you must remember that your trouble can get me in trouble.
Listen to this. The question is not the problem. The problem is the answer.
EFF and SASCO. Well, they both have been engaging students in their own way, but I believe that as leaders, we need to, when we define leadership and when we actually see, is this someone I can follow, we need to be able to follow someone who can deliver. And some of the grievances that are listed by students, I don't believe that they are properly represented by EFFSC. I believe that they are too quick to strike, you know, instead of them actually engaging in a way that is the delegation, diplomatic. That's my observation of EFFSP in Salt Lake University, and so I believe that shouldn't be the ethos of leadership. When we want something to be done, we don't need to scream. I don't need to wake up first years to go and strike if I can negotiate. So it's something that I've observed, and it's a personal opinion of mine. So I would give the crown to SASCO. To answer it in the context way, because of I did not want to mislead people and people to view in a different eye, which is a good idea. Mr. Carlson, it was a pleasure to have you in my studio. It was a pleasure.
Pleasure. Ladies and gentlemen, we are out of here. This is opening up Tshepang's second episode with Carlson, the one and only, the man that we should give him a crowd. Ladies and gentlemen, I will see you again. Talo mangi nawe ngizizwa ngilele ngithuthanda mina phela kungashinthi